Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to cover um, how to run the functional tests or integration tests across multiple environments without having to modify the automation code base. So in this tutorial I'm going to use static blocks. Static blocks gets initiated at the startup, so your property files will be loaded dynamically based on your need. But anyway, I can explain you in more detail, and the same thing can be achieved by using Cucumber's juice, as well as if you have Spring based framework, you can use Spring as well to load the properties dynamically to be able to run your tests against multiple environments. So let me explain you clearly what I mean. Okay, hope you are able to see my screen. So here, um, while I was coding rest assured get call, so in the previous tutorial, I have hard coded my host and path here. You can see how host has been hard coded. Path might be the same for all the environments, because you will be using the same REST endpoint across multiple environments, but host will be definitely different. So here I have hard coded the host. Let's say tomorrow I want to run it against different environments, which means a different host. I have to come here and modify this host to be able to run the test against different environments. So that's obviously bad practice, because you are editing your code to be able to run your tests against different environments. So let's see how we can dynamically load the property files based on your environment. So what I mean by dynamical loading is, let's say I'm supplying a variable called -d-env, which is env variable, and I'm assigning a value called local. So then it needs to pick up that local value, and it needs to run the test against my local environments. And if I say ci, it should run the test against my ci environment. So to be able to achieve that, you need different property files for your different environments. So, oh god. So I'm going to create a file called local.properties, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to move my host into the property file, and I'm going to call it as host, and you don't need double quotes because everything is treated as a string in the property file. So I have my local properties. I'm going to copy the same for ci.properties as well, because rapid API, I don't think it's available in any other environment. So for just for the clarity, I'm just using different property files with the same host for now. So I have also created integration.properties as well with the same host. So you can see now there are 3 property files. So if I say -d-env equal to local, the test has to run against local properties, and if I say integration, it should run against integration. So to be able to achieve that, I need a class which reads the value of my environment variable and loads that specific environment's property file. So I'm going to create a class which does it for me. So I'm going to call it as load test properties dot class. Oh, sorry. Okay, anyway, I'm creating a class. Okay, so in this class, I'm going to declare a static variable called string env equal to, because I am supplying it from the command line. So I'm going to get that property from the system, and because the key that I am supplying for my environment variable is env, so I just want to get the value for that env variable and store it in env variable. And so let's say if I don't want to supply any environment variable at all, then I don't want my test to fail. So I'm going to define a default environment property. So I'm going to call it as default env. So this is a string, and I want my default to be local. And also I'm going to create another variable called properties. Okay, and then inside my static block I want to load the properties. So first of all, if my environment variable is equal to null, that means if I haven't supplied any environment variable in from my command line, then I don't want the test to fail. So I want to assign a default environment variable in that case. And then, so let's see what is available on property. So this needs to be static because I want to access it inside static block. So let's see what methods are available on properties. So there is load available and with input stream. So because this load takes, okay, this load has multiple implementations, but there is input stream as well. So I'm going to declare an input stream. Input stream equal to my class. I'm going to load the resource get class loader dot get resource as stream and my dynamic environment variable dot properties. Okay, so that's going to load my properties into input stream, and I'm going to supply that input stream to load method. And looks like this load is throwing exception, IO exception, so we need to have try and catch blocks. So I'm going to catch that IO exception. So inside this catch block, I don't want the test to proceed if it is unable to load the properties for some reason. So I'm going to throw a runtime exception and call it as unable to load properties. And I'm going to print the cause in this runtime exception. Okay. So now we are done with our static block. Now there needs to be a way where we have to return the value from the property files. So let's say I want the value of host from my property file. I need to define a method for that. So this needs to be public because everything will be accessed via this method. So private static string get property. I'm going to call this method as get property, and I'm going to supply a key for this method, and properties dot get property and key. Okay, I need to return this. So this basically returns the value for, so let's say I have passed my key as host, so it returns the value for that host key. So I have defined the properties. Now I need another class which will have enum for all the properties that I have in my property file. So I'm going to call it as property keys and say it's a enum, and I want to be able to get any of the variable that is associated with this enum. So I'm going to annotate this enum with the getter and all args constructor. So I'm going to so host is in the property file, it's named as host. And do I have any other properties? No, I don't have any other properties. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this here and private final string key. So I want to be able to return the keys from this property keys enum. So that's why I have this variable called key. So let's see how to use those variables now. Path, I am not moving it to property files because that will be the same across all the environments in any REST API world, as far as I know. If it is different, then you have to move it to the property files. Whatever the properties you think they are going to differ based on the environment, you need to have them in your environment specific property files. And my host, how should I get the host? Load test properties dot get property, and I'm going to get my key from the property keys, host dot get key. Okay, so I'm going to get the host like this, load test properties, and I'm calling the get property method, and I'm passing the key which I have declared it in property keys inside that get property. So it's going to get the value of host for me. So let's say in this case, this is the host. Okay, so that's how you load the properties based on your environment. So let me try to run it. Minus -denv equal to ci. So it should take the host value from here. How do I tell how? Okay, for now I'm going to assign /ci. It's going test is going to fail, but I just want to show you uh, it's loading the ci dot properties. So I'm going to print the host here just for your clarity. Host. Okay, so before I do that, let me comment out the test dot feature. I don't want that to be run. So I just want get countries to be run. So I have commented out those things. For some reason input stream is null. It's saying, okay, I forgot to tell you one thing. So you don't want your test to proceed when your input stream is null. So what you need to do is just assert for your input stream not equal to null, so that it doesn't proceed, the test won't proceed. Okay, env dot properties. This looks correct. I don't really know why it failed. Let me build the project once. Get properties host dot get key. So I have ci dot properties and I have declared the host. And in the property keys, I think I have the correct spelling. And get country steps, I am loading the property, get property, and assigning it to the host. So why is it failing then? Shouldn't have proceeded. Looks like it hasn't built the code properly. So -u, I'm going to, let me delete the target directory as well so that it builds the classes properly. So -u -d skip tests, I'm going to say that. Okay, cool. So So now let's run the command again. Maven clean verify minus PCI test. Minus PCI test refers to the profile inside the Maven. I have explained you guys previously about Maven profiles. So what's the problem? env equal to null. I want it to run against default environment, local environment. So let's debug. Test runner 4. Oh no, sorry. It's my bad. So I haven't initialized the properties. That's a blunder. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, we came to know very easily. So I forgot to initialize the variable properties and assign it to new properties. That's the reason test was failing with null pointer. So now I'm going to run the test again. Okay, you can see the host. Let's forget about whether it is working or not, because we have used the wrong host, so it won't work. But I just want to show you the value of host, if that's being picked up correctly or not. Okay, so you can see I have appended CI at the end in the CI dot properties. So it got picked up correctly /CI, and whereas my local properties doesn't have that. So let's try to run it against local environment. So local environments, the tests should pass because we are using the correct host. In CI properties, I just appended CI just for the clarity to show you whether it's loading the CI properties correctly or not. But this one SSLP shutdown issue is coming. I don't know why. But we are more interested in the host value. So let's take a look at the host value, what it printed. Or maybe we can view the value via debugger. So you can see the host that's being picked up for local. So local properties, I don't have /CI, so it has picked up the properties correctly. Let me run it one more time. For some reason, it keeps terminating my connection. Remote host terminated. I keep getting SSL handshake issues for some reason. That could be due to my network or some other issue. SSL peer shut down incorrectly. So let me rerun again. Because this thing is working from the Postman. When I try it from Postman, it's working. See, it's working from Postman. Only via rest assured I keep getting errors. So if that doesn't work, then I'm going to do another thing, get country steps. And here I'm going to use, rest assured dot, okay, this passed anyway. See, there is an intermittent issue with the API that we are using, so it's not our fault. You can see the tests are passing now. So I'm just going to correct the CI.properties back to what it was so that it doesn't fail against different environments. So that's how you run your tests against multiple environments, and you can control it via command line. Or so there is a profile called CI test, right? Or I think we have another profile as well. Yeah. So you can do one thing here. You can have different profiles for your different environments, but it's not needed. You can always control your environment variable from the command line. But if at all you want to control it from the POM itself, you can just enable this section where it talks about system properties, and the name of the system properties is env, and you can hard code it to say whether you want to run it locally or CI or integration. So you can hard code it like this as well. So via Maven, in the configuration section, you need to have system properties section where you'll have each property and property name and value defined. So here in this case, our environment, our property name is environment env, and the value is it's according to your need. So whether you want to run test against CI integration or local or some other environment, it's based on your needs. Okay, so that's all I have for today. Um, so people are requesting me to do an online session for rest assured and CI/CD pipelines as well. Maybe tomorrow I can come live, and there are two candidates that asked for the tutorial. I might come online, or I can gather their needs and do the tutorials. Okay, let's meet with the next tutorial. Until then, bye. Take care.